What's going on? You're now tuned in to PVD Horror. I'm Brandon, and I'm joined by my co-host Dave. And today we have a special guest. She's a horror content creator, host, and entertainer. Xero Gravity. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
So this episode, we focus on our monthly horror recap. Today, we're going to focus on all the cool shit that happened in the month of July. But first, let's get to know you. So I came across your content a few months back. I have to say you're definitely killing the game as a content creator. And I need to know how you got the name Xero Gravity.
I've been Xero Gravity for maybe like 15 years now. But Xero Gravity was born when I was in middle school. And like every other wannabe middle schooler, I was in a band. A cover band. We didn't have any original music, but we did rock. I played the bass, and of course we all had to give ourselves rock star names. So I'm not exactly sure how I became Xero Gravity, but yeah, my relationship with Xero Gravity has been a long time coming. So I guess just the generations of my creative content, Xero Gravity is the one thing that stayed the same.
Very cool. You know, you have to tell us some of the cover songs that you guys did.
Oh, we were big on Soundgarden. We would do like a lot of grunge rock. We tried to do new metal, even though we weren't that good. So we kind of flipped back to grunge rock.
Yeah.
Also a lot of alt kind of stuff. Although we didn't love MGMT, like the people loved MGMT. They just wanted to hear kids like over and over and over and over. So that ended up being like the one. But I would say number one influence would have to be Audioslave and Soundgarden, that's for sure.
Very
and
cool.
To this day, still my my karaoke go-tos.
Spoonman?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So you're not too far from us. So you're down in New York. So what's the vibe down there for the horror community?
There's actually not too many of us down here, but I'm very happy to be on another East Coast podcast because East Coast is where it's at.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry to the West, but it's just different over here. We have a nice small community in the city here. I do host events down here. I try to at least once a quarter. Most of our spooky people come from nightlife. There's a big kind of like goth industrial scene down here, which I have slowly dipped my foot into, but I've made some friends in the industrial like go-go scene and burlesque. We actually do have great horror burlesque down here. So if you ever are in the area, I can point you to some shows to go to. I just caught a screening last month at one of my favorite indie theaters down here of Frankenhooker. They were doing like a body horror series. And before the screening, there was a burlesque performance and it was like a Frankenhooker bit. It was awesome. So yeah, I mean, I try to merge our communities, even though we're all like under the umbrella of spooky, but not everyone does editorial type stuff or events. But yeah, a lot of nightlife stuff, which I'm absolutely into as well. Some new people, Unbound and Rewound horror podcast just moved to the city. We have a couple of really great YouTubers that I love. Sweet and Spooky is down here, and also Ghosty are over in Brooklyn. Chemical Boy is up in Harlem. You know, we're a tiny but mighty.
Very cool. So what are some of those venues that you would recommend for people visiting the city?
Oh, Nighthawk. You gotta hit Nighthawk. Nighthawk is my favorite indie theater in the city. I actually have an article coming out on Dread Central that I wrote next week.
Awesome.
For a program that they run called Film Feasts. And they just showed Midsommar. So it's kind of like an Alamo feel, you know, where you have the tables in between and you have service come during the films. But they do a lot more indie and like OG stuff. Also, like, you know, they do the 35mm screenings and also host great events afterwards. So Dread Central just sent me out to go see Midsommar, and they had like a dining course to go along with Midsommar. I thought it was very clever. So the whole the menu was inspired by like Scandinavian stuff and Nordic themes and mysticism. And, you know, before that one part here comes the spoiler warning, but that movie came out in 2019, so you definitely should have seen Midsommar by now. But the one very traumatic scene where the two old people jump from the cliff, right before that scene happened, all the servers brought out a beer and a shot, which was like great timing because the audience was definitely going to need that. But they end like every screening with a party down at the bar. I love Nighthawk. There's 2 locations here, and a bunch of my friends dance at Lucky 13, which is like the grunge bar to be at. They do have like lots of different TVs set up everywhere. They got, dusty VHS. They're always playing something extreme, usually something French, with the dancers on the bar. That's a good time as well. And I could go for hours.
So you mentioned Dread Central and doing some work for them. How did that connection happen, and what have you been doing with Dread?
Currently I'm just freelance for Dread. A lot of my good friends are staff. My co-host Sheree the Slayer on my podcast is a staff writer there. She covers news. And also our sister podcast, Girl That Scary, Jazz and Cat, they're on their podcast network. So Mary Beth reached out to me and basically just asked how she could help me with my career, which I really appreciated. So I have been doing video interviews for them every now and then. They're usually pretty liberal. Like they let me pitch. They do let me pitch. So cool. I've done a couple interviews with like cool comic creators that definitely deserve a little bit more light. I am chronically online, so they do trust my taste in Twitch streamers. So I've highlighted a couple like Black horror Twitch streamers on for Dread, things of that nature. Cosplayers too, horror cosplayers. That was a really great interview. But recently they've been putting me out on the streets because I'm the only one up here in New York. So I'm happy to do it. Yeah,
that sounds fun, getting out there and like meeting people and being in person.
Absolutely. It's always better that way. We're all a little bit like tiny bit of Stockholm syndrome since the pandemic. So and I am dangerous levels of extrovert. So talking to people is what I do, and I'm always down to meet cool new people, specifically East Coasters like you two gentlemen.
We appreciate you coming on. Like I said, before I started off, just your content and everything. That's why I wanted you to be on the show, because you've been killing it. Like I said, it's like everything that I see that you're doing, I'm just like, wow, this girl's got everything going on. She's hosting shit, and she's got a cool podcast, and I think the horror community, the thing is with us, we like to give everybody their flowers and show respect and kind of like bring everybody together, because that's what it's all about. So that's why we started like doing this, bringing people that's in from social media and all different forms, because it's just to show that like, okay, like anybody can do this, but it's kind of cool to kind of like just talk to everybody else, because we do this shit to kind of like get stressed off our chest and everything that's going on. And so I know that this could be the same for you. So it's just like, all right, this is an easy conversation to get going, so we appreciate
Absolutely. Yeah, my pleasure, man. I started this whole thing because, well, I became serious with my content during the pandemic. Before that, I just used navigating nerdy spaces as an excuse to meet more people. Then the world started to end and I wasn't allowed to meet more people anymore. Yeah. So I was forced to meet people on the internet. Luckily, it's easier to find people like you on the internet. And I really did become addicted to it. And, since the world has started to open back up, I've had the pleasure of meeting my internet friends online, mostly down at the East Coast. And I do pop over to LA every now and then to see some of our spooky fam on that side. But it's a big family, so why would you want to do it by yourself when there's fam all around?
That's right. Speaking of fam, you got to host the Salem Horror Fest.
Yeah, I hosted Salem Horror Film Festival this year. That was an awesome experience. Kay reached out to me about a year in advance. And I had never been to Salem before.
Oh wow.
I actually do love Boston. That's something that I probably shouldn't be saying with my chest as a New Yorker, but I do really like Boston. Unfortunately, I also really like Philly. But I've never been to Salem. So when Kay, the festival director, reached out to me to come up and host a film festival, I was like, shit, yeah, how could I say no to that? And that was just, another great experience of meeting really cool new people. And I also didn't realize how queer Salem was. And that was like predominantly queer, and that was something that felt very comfortable for me. And I was able to kind of like reach into a very specific subgenre of horror, which was queer horror. And not all of it, but much of it was
a good
queer
chunk.
horror.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's difficult to find that shit, but when it's all in one place is really beautiful thing. And the cinema they have out there is awesome. I'm really not like a chain girl. I mean, sure, like if I had to choose, I'm going to choose Regal over AMC, but I do prefer like the independent theaters, and they have a great small theater out there. I think it's like 3 screens, but it's a very, very tight community. Let me tell you, like my first day, they put me on a train. I took the Amtrak, and it was wonderful. I love the Amtrak train. And I got up there on a Thursday, and Freddie from, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mixtape Massacre, the board game.
Yeah.
So Freddie was already there, and he asked, when I'm arriving. I told him Thursday afternoon. He said, hey, if you're done with your research and stuff and all your prep, then you should come to horror trivia. And I'm like, horror trivia in Salem, Massachusetts? Like, I'm there. And it was crazy. It was in like a sushi spot, like something totally not spooky. But you walk in, and it's just like all our people. You can tell by the battle vests and the brightly colored hair and the horror merch and everything. So I felt right at home, and I sat down at the bar. I'm not a local, so I didn't have like a team or anything, but I left. It was a John Carpenter theme, and the chick that runs trivia up there is just phenomenal, and I've been dying since then to go back up and hang out with everyone. They're so cool. But I thought I knew shit about horror movies until I went to horror trivia in Salem, Massachusetts. I left like, I don't know shit about horror movies. Like these people they're about their business. But that was an awesome experience.
So
and
cool.
I saw a lot of great films. I saw a lot of films, but still appreciate the hard work. I got to meet a lot of filmmakers, shake their hands, party with them later. There was burlesque at the after party. It was a great thing, and I'm fingers crossed they want me back next year, because I'm dying, man. I'm dying to go back.
I'm sure you killed it. We really were bummed that we weren't able to make it that weekend. We had our own event over here. We always schedule our events at like the worst weekends. Like we'll have a movie night because we plan it a few months in advance, and then we'll be like, we'll see there's like some big thing going on, and we're like, oh god, we can't not go to our own thing. I don't think.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't think you can cheap out on your own.
I had such FOMO though, watching like all the pictures and seeing like everybody who made it. I was like, I didn't know that person was going to be there. I didn't know that person was going to be there. I was really jealous. Alice McKay Mayo was there, and they did T blockers.
Wonderful.
I really wanted to meet her. We got to interview her for this for watch Sovam and Bad Girl Boogie, but I really wanted to see T blockers. So I was super jealous of that. And then our buddies, the Death Drop Gorgeous crew, were there. We did our own trivia night. And Brandon of Death Drop was the team that won it. So that felt like that shouldn't have been allowed, but we'll let him have it. So, but yeah, no, hopefully you do get up there again for next time, and hopefully we make it next time. We'd love to see you in person there.
Yeah, man.
Now, we all have these crazy stories on how we became horror fans. Like, can you tell me how it all got started for you?
Yeah, I love telling this story. It's actually a little pathetic in like a cute and innocent way, but I've always been a nerd. I was really into comics and anime growing up, but it wasn't until middle school, around that time, and after being on the internet and being abducted into the horror community, I I now realize that I'm actually pretty late to the game in terms of my peers, you know, like Jazz from Girl That's Scary. Like she was being taken to the theater by her mom at like 4 years old to see like fucking, you know, the shit that a 4-year-old should not be seeing. But anyway, probably around middle school age, I had an issue with, I just let fear control my life. I was like the biggest scaredy cat ever, and also a huge introvert. And it got so bad, I want to say like 6th or 7th grade. It got so bad that I couldn't even go to the bathroom in public because I didn't want to use the public toilets in fear that they would have like the automatic flushing thing, you know, not you like push it to flush, it just like flushes like whenever the sensor thinks you get up. I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but I would just not go to the bathroom in public. I guess I thought I was going to get sucked in, or like, you know, if I wasn't ready for it to flush or some shit. And after that, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like you can't live your life in fear, especially not of an automatic flushing toilet. Like you got to get your shit together, girl. So of course, like middle school logic, right? I'm like, how do I make myself less afraid of anything? Obviously, the answer is scary movies, scary comics, scary manga, scary corners of the internet. And like I mentioned before, I am a child of the internet and I am chronically online. So I got to Googling and just consumed like as much horror content as I could. The first thing that I stumbled upon was Junji Ito's works when I was about 13 or 14. And at that time he hadn't made his like break into the American market yet, so you really couldn't find his stuff. Like I found it on like a subreddit somewhere. I, you know, immediately like read as much as I could. Like even the graphic stuff, I was on rotten.com just consuming anything disgusting and repulsive and the type of shit that would give me nightmares, because in my 13-year-old brain I'm thinking about, if I build up enough of a tolerance, then I can proceed living my life without being fearful of anything. I don't know if that actually worked, but I did find out that I actually really love it. And now I'm probably just like maybe a little bit of a bitch with a tolerance. But doing that, I found something that I really love.
Sure.
Yeah.
So do you actually get scared?
Yeah, I get scared, but I love it. I think I might have discovered that I'm an adrenaline junkie after all that. Like, I do get scared. I'm often scared, honestly. But the feeling of like the rush and the adrenaline, or like when something really gets you, like I love that, and that's what I chase. And that might sound a little weird, actually, but you know, it's a sensation, I guess. I mean, I could be like jumping out of planes. I'm not doing that.
I chase that same feeling with like roller coasters and shit like that, you know what I mean? Or I want to do like skydive, and I've been like whitewater rafting and stuff like that. But like, I want to do that shit.
Skydiving? You're crazy. My feet stay on the ground. I'm not getting on a roller coaster either.
Hey, see?
Hey, shout out to rotten.com. The kids don't know about that one.
The kids don't. The kids do not know about rotten.com. And you know what? As an adult, now I know that they don't need to.
Oh, man. So, what are some of your favorite films? So I'm really interested to hear this now that, like, hearing this story. I want to know what you find scary.
What do I find scary?
Is that two separate questions? What would be your favorite and what do you find scary?
Yeah, that's definitely two different questions. I can answer both. My favorite film, and I used to be embarrassed to say this, but I'm not embarrassed anymore. I'm not afraid. I'm out of the closet. My favorite film is Malignant. I am balls to the walls for James Wan and Akela Cooper's Malignant. It is a perfect film. I'm obsessed with it. I love the underlying messages. I love the satire. It's clever. It has the action that I'm looking for. It's grotesque. It's what the fuck. I think that's what it is that I love. That's my favorite kind of
Yeah.
movie. I like movies that make you say what the fuck. You know, a little bit of gore and a little bit of psychological and a little bit of sci-fi, all that kind of stuff that really makes you say what the fuck.
Yeah.
That's definitely up my alley. Big on body horror. I love From Beyond with Barbara Crampton.
Nice.
I love Event Horizon is definitely an all-time fave. I'm big on space and like kind of like sci-fi stuff.
Sure.
Not huge on paranormal things. They just kind of get a little bit old to me, but there's one film that we'll probably talk about later. What the hell was the second question? Did I answer both? Oh, what scares me?
Yeah.
What scares me? This is funny because when I'm outside and people recognize me as Xero Gravity, that's like the number one question I get. Like, what are you scared of?
God,
you know,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what are you scared of? And my answer every time is human trafficking. Every time. And the reason why I watch horror films is because life sucks, right? Like reality is awful in many, many ways. But if I'm dipping my toes into an alternate reality where like zombies are everywhere and like we're all probably going to die soon, then this reality that I'm living in doesn't seem so bad. So it's the stuff that's actually in reality that does scare me. And when those things are put into horror, I'm done. That's why I mentioned Missing earlier. Like anything having to do with disappearing humans, that shit is real. Human trafficking, that shit is real. That's why I'm not horror. I'm definitely adjacent though. But Liam Neeson and Taken, I will never forget. That movie is burned into my brain because that shit is real. That's the shit that goes bump in the night for me. Anything else, like I will get a good jump scare, and I'm always scared, like in the moment.
Yeah.
But I'll be sleeping fine.
Yeah.
So my real life one, sorry, Brandon, I was just gonna my real life one. Now just that resonated with me because like it's home invasion. So The Strangers like really got to me when I saw that in theaters. And I think about is like it actually did like affect some of the choices I make. Like I refuse to get like cameras for my home because I know if I get them, I'll be like obsessed with checking them. And I feel like it makes me almost live in that fear that like I'm waiting for somebody to like invade my home. So I'd rather just be blind and ignorant to it. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but in my mind,
that's valid.
makes sense, I guess.
That's valid.
I don't know.
Because I have a Ring doorbell, and then sometimes like it hits me up on my phone and it says someone's at your door, and sometimes I'll look because I work overnights, and then I'll look at my door and it's like the wind, like if it's like windy outside, and then I'm looking, I'm like, where the fuck's the person at? I'm looking.
But is it the wind?
I don't know. I don't know.
See, you could literally sit there and make your own found footage. You could make your own found footage horror film with just your freaking Ring camera.
Exactly. Hey,
like I know that Ring has like a YouTube channel now.
Oh, do
and
they?
you can submit your crazy clips to Ring and they'll post them on their YouTube channel. And there was that one, I don't know if it was Ring or like something adjacent, but there was like a cougar outside and there's a little girl.
Oh yeah, I just
girl
saw that
runs to
one.
the door. Yeah, like that. That's crazy. On the same topic though, I do remember when Disturbia came out. Or it was about to come out. And I remember the ads on television and the tagline was, "Every killer lives next to someone." And I remember sitting on the couch like, holy shit. Every killer does live next to someone.
I guess that's pretty much factual, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Probably true.
But it's funny, you brought up earlier, like you like the what the fuck moments. Like we started like a segment, like episodes, like a series of called What the Fuck Did We Just Watch, where a lot of our followers kind of recommend films to us, like the craziest fucking films ever. And then we kind of like do a quick 30-minute episode about watching it and reviewing it and just talking about like, what the fuck did you make me watch?
That's hilarious.
Now that we have you on this show, can you recommend a film that made you feel like, what the fuck is this? Like just something crazy that you probably think that we've never seen before.
Well, I know you guys are experts, but I loved The Pool. It's Indonesian.
Yeah, with the alligator.
movie.
I haven't seen it. It's
Hell
on my
yeah.
list. All right.
Hell yeah.
That's been on my
that
list
was
for a while.
that was it's great. That's a great, I mean, it's like bad good, you
Yeah.
know, like that area of like bad good. There is this like middle section. I won't give it away to you because I really do encourage you watch it. But there's like a little middle arc that sometimes like Asian horror does that tries to like force in a cultural values into a movie that like really has nothing to do with cultural values, especially when there is an alligator or crocodile, I don't remember which one it was, threatening your life. Yeah, that
Right.
one is kind of a what the fuck. And also I did a blind buy at the flea market not too long ago. I got James Gunn's Slither. Y'all seen that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Slither is great.
I don't
Great
know how
film.
that one missed me. It missed me, but the cover looked cool, so I just got it at the flea market for probably like 50
That is
cents or
such a fun
something.
film. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had no idea, and I just posted on my story like, "Hey guys, I just went to
You
the
know,
flea market. Like, look at my things." And
I
everyone
saw
was
that
like, "Bitch, what
post.
the fuck?"
Yeah, I see it
I
too.
I saw that post and I was surprised about not only had you not seen it, but also there was a few people who also kind of had like just recently seen it that were responding. And I was like, really? But
Maybe it's
that
coming
came out
back.
at like a very certain time, like specific time. At the time, a lot of like I feel like a lot of us were talking about it, but that was like way before all
Yeah.
this stuff, you know, like so that was, I forget what year that film was, but it was like I don't remember, like 2010 or
I think it
something
was
like
like
that.
07 or
Oh yeah,
06,
we're
one of
old.
them.
I don't know.
2006.
2006. Wow. All right.
Yeah,
You know, that reminds me of also,
2006.
have you seen Feast?
Yeah, fire.
It
No,
reminds
I
me
have
around the
not
same
seen
time
Peace.
as those films. There's like three of them. The first, maybe two, I would say, Brand. I don't know, Brand, if you agree. The first two are worth watching.
First two.
Yeah. I would check those out. I came out around this, I think that came out around the same time. It reminds me of that period of time of horror though. And those were fun. They're like horror comedy films. And there's a bunch of like
Okay.
notable faces in it of like the time.
Sick. I'm adding those to the list, and they're for free on Tubi. Let's get
Yeah,
it.
I would say they're kind of like Tremors a little bit. Just
Yes.
it had
Tremors and
Oh,
Critters.
a
okay.
It's
little
like
bit,
Tremors and
but like
Critters.
to the next level, like crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Fun films.
Yeah.
And you so I added the pool to our list. So we have a ongoing list. So every month we pick two off there. But you were mentioning kind of like the weird arc that those films take sometimes. And I thought of one that I would recommend to people if I were going to recommend one. Suicide Club. Have you seen that film?
Oh, I love it.
There's like this
love it.
weird part in the middle that just goes like off the walls, right? I mean, it's a weird film in general, but they're like in bags. I forget exactly how it is. I haven't seen it in so long, but it just is a super bizarre movie. That, I mean, it could be triggering. So if that sounds like a triggering topic to you, don't watch it. But if you're up for a challenge, it's super bizarre if you guys can get your hands on it.
Yeah. Oh, can I recommend one more?
Yeah.
Tokyo Gore Police.
I love that film. Yes.
You guys are just as fucked up as I am. Hell yeah.
That was like, all right. So those films came out around the time where I was like, I want to test my limits with gore. So I feel like I watched those around the same time that I watched like Human Centipede, all the French like new wave extremist films. Like that was, I was just trying to dig in to see like how much can I watch Serbian film, which I know Brendan won't. He wouldn't even watch it.
I had to get that. I had to like burn it for him because it came out like I had gotten films like before they came out, and I was burning it, and then I'm like, you know, you can watch like the preview, and I'm like watching it, and it's like showing the baby thing, and I'm like, yeah, no.
He handed it to me. He goes, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I'm testing my limits, dude.
Yeah, those are definitely the limits. If there are any, it is that.
It's up there.
Yeah, I
did realize
I have rotten.com.
I have a pretty high tolerance for weird stuff and like gross stuff. So that's what I found out about myself.
It's all about self-discovery.
Lesson learned. My limit might have been Human Centipede 2. Great film, super gross and hard to watch.
Ah, shit.
So
And
yeah, on that note.
let's get into the month of July. Xero, what's going on with you? What films have you seen in July so far that stand out to you?
I've seen Talk to Me twice.
Twice. Nice.
Oh, have you guys seen it yet?
I actually just seen it at the Fangoria A24 advanced screening. Fucking crazy. I was telling him on my way home, I'm like, yo, these fucking guys just took like that
Elevated horror.
yeah, elevated horror to the next level. That's how I feel about it, you know what I mean? Because seeing those guys when they started off, you know, they had the Raka YouTube channel and they weren't making anything like this. They were doing a bunch of like comic book stuff, like, you know, like Street Fighter. I have to say they definitely took the shit to the next level. And my son had gone with me and he was like, Dad, and he's been watching films since he was little. I had them watching horror since they were little. And he was just like, I never seen a movie that made me feel this way. And I was just like, yo,
Ooh,
that shit was nuts.
that shit was nuts. That shit was fucking nuts. I have watched their YouTube channel,
Yeah.
again, chronically online over here, like the Ronald McDonald ones,
Yeah.
all those like ridiculous shit. And I was doing a little bit of research, especially after word of the writers and actors strikes.
Mhm.
When I was writing my review for Talk to Me, I did want to make a big point about giving independent creators the trust and the budgets that they deserve. Because you know, this is the Raka brothers, that's their first feature film. But you know, when I used to watch their YouTube channel, it was just like, you know,
Mhm.
mindless whatever, like YouTube skit content. It
Mhm.
wasn't anything. It was just, you know, there was a whole bunch of shit on YouTube like that at that time. But now when I'm getting ready to watch Talk to Me, I'm going back and looking at their YouTube channel and I'm like, yo, like the fundamentals are there.
Yeah.
You know, like even though it's fucking stupid and they're showing Ronald McDonald walking into a Kentucky Fried Chicken and like, you know, fucking people up with the grease and shit, you know, the cinematography is as if this was a legitimate horror movie,
Mhm.
or not even a horror movie, just or an action movie or anything. Like it's intricate and complicated, even though the source material is dumb. And I was really glad that A24 or whoever, you know,
Yeah.
pitched them to a bigger production
Yeah.
company was able to see that the potential there. That doesn't really happen. But obviously it was the right choice because Talk to Me is about to be the best horror movie of 2023, period. And it's all because you gave these independent guys who haven't made a dime off of their videos on YouTube, by the way, because they're not eligible for monetization because of the content. And they were okay with that because that's just what they wanted to do. But you know, because they were, or whoever was, you know, pitching this film or bringing it to production companies was able to see that these guys have fucking potential, even though they have very minimal experience on a level like this. Like that's what we need to see more of. We need to, you know, people like Alice Mayo McKay,
Yeah.
you know, she needs to have the budget that she deserves, because if you look at the content that she has now, and that girl is like, she's like 18 and on her third
Yeah.
feature film.
Yeah.
That's
It's crazy.
insane. So, you know, as much as I love a good Blumhouse flick, you know what I mean? Like, I really think that we should be looking at the independent people, looking at the little guys, looking at the
Yeah.
creators on social media who are just doing it for the love of themselves and giving them, you know, trusting them with their vision and opening up our fucking wallets and giving them the budgets that they need, because in the end, it's going to benefit everybody.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get fucked up for saying that because of the strikes going on right now, but it's true.
Yeah. It's crazy because I had found out about them like years ago because my son had watched their friends, Oddest of the Odd. And then so like over the years, I was able to go back and forth, interact with them because they have the same type of content, like, you know what I mean? And so they do like crazy shit and we would post it on our page. And so then I found that they were friends and I was just like, oh shit, like checking out their content. But yeah, the Rocket Brothers had actually paid for that film out of their pocket. took it and it went to Sundance, and then it was picked up from A24. So like we talked about this a couple weeks ago on how you just have to bet on yourself and kind of do all you can. Those guys are being thrown projects like a new Street Fighter movie and even Scary Movie 6, you know, so they're like, I don't know if I'm going to take it, but I think that would be good in their hands, you know, because kind of bring it back to like the first two movies, not any of the rest.
Yeah, as soon as the Wayans brothers dipped, it was a whole nother franchise. But on that same topic, I think The Blackening was last month, but same thing with The Blackening. Like that was a Dwayne Perkins. That was his short, you know, and he wrote it. He starred in it in the Comedy Central skit, and they saw his potential. And guess what the fuck they did? They gave him money. And now we have, and I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. I was not paid to say this. I'm just a big old fan. But you know, shout out to the independent and the young and the less experienced have just as big as brains as Stephen King and Jason Blum and everyone we already know them already.
For sure. This has been the case for so long. Like, I mean, remember when like the VHS film came out? And they had all those independent filmmakers. I was so excited to see what they were going to bring. And it felt like for some of them, they kind of took off a little quicker than others. But like Radio Silence.
Yeah.
Like, how long did it take for them to actually get a little bit of money to make some films? Like, I forget what the difference was from that to Ready or Not, to, you know, Scream 5 and 6. So, I mean, this is the thing. We just got to, you know, give these independent filmmakers the money and see what they can do.
I would love for, speaking of the VHS franchise, Timo Giganto, he's done a couple of VHS shorts. The most recent one, I don't remember if it was 94 or 95. 99, sorry, 94 or 99, but he has one short and it's kind of like a cyborg like anti-hero thing going on, and that shit was insane. And there is talks of him directing the quote-unquote American remake of Train to Busan, which you know, everybody wants to scream and shout, no, don't do it. But I've seen Timo Giganto's work and I trust him. I really do. And I just really hope that he gets the budgets that he deserves, because if he can create a kick-ass short that he's done in VHS and knock my socks off in like 12 minutes, give him the money. Give him the money.
That was the first person one, right? When it was just going around and shooting. Yeah, that one was fire.
Tight.
Yep.
Look at even Flying Lotus. His segment in the latest one was so off the walls and like fun and crazy and uncomfortable. Like, yeah, there's so many. Like,
love that shit. She said it's show ain't bean dip. Crazy. He just wrapped filming on his feature film. Like a couple weeks ago. I know, because I'm like a ridiculous fan and I like follow everything that he fucking does. Oh my god. Awesome. I don't think he needs any convincing, but still give him more money, please.
So yeah, like it was dope seeing him, because me and Dave are like big fans of his music, and so to see him transition to this, it was just like he got something over here. So
so another film that we got to check out this month, which we also got to talk to the writer, was Cobweb, and we just released our interview with Chris Thomas Delvin last week. So I don't know, Xero, did you get to check out Cobweb yet?
I haven't checked out Cobweb, and I'm very embarrassed to say that I woke up before I went to work this morning, and that is the first time that I've heard of the film. I did watch the trailer though, and it's giving kind of like Boy Behind the Door. It's giving a little bit of like Guillermo del Toro kind of like story time kind of. I'm doing this weird thing with my neck right now for those who can't see me, but like but I'm definitely interested in checking it out. And I feel bad because, you know, this is a really big 2 weeks for movies right now. We got Barbie, we got Oppenheimer, and we got Talk to Me. So the timing is like right now.
Yeah, he actually joked around about it. He's like, everybody go see my film. There's absolutely nothing else coming out this week, so just get your tickets now. Like,
it came out today, so
Oh man,
so they sent us over the screener like last month, so I've watched that film probably like 5 times now, and it's definitely dope. So everybody that's listening, definitely go out and support this film. It's a great film. You know, Chris also screen wrote the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came on Netflix. So
Oh, and I
yeah,
really liked that one.
Yeah, we
I
did
thought that
too.
one was fun.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
That
for sure.
bus scene was
Yeah.
woo!
Yeah. Yeah. That was
shout
a
out to
lot of fun.
Jessica, our friend
I felt like I
Jessica
was
Thriller.
watching a baseball game with that one.
So everything you said about Cobweb, though, like totally captures a lot of like what you described. But the cool thing is, like, when you think you know how it's going to end, you're completely wrong. So it's
Love
cool
that.
because it just takes a total 180, and suddenly you're like, wow, this is nuts. So I really enjoyed it. I was kind of shocked because like I like when we first got the screener, I hadn't really heard anything about it. So I was like, all right, well, we'll see. So I went in with like zero expectations, and I was like, nah, I really enjoyed that. So I actually can't wait to see it again because when we get to the screeners, there's our names like on the middle of the screen.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the worst thing. So if anyone has experience with screeners, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like our freaking email address is like across the middle
He's
of
like,
the
what? You don't
screen.
trust me?
Yeah,
You don't trust
come
me?
on.
Uh,
But yeah, check it out.
yeah,
Definitely adding it to the list.
yeah. So the next film we're going to talk about that released at the beginning of the month was what was that? Insidious Red Door. That came out. It's a direct sequel to the second film. Did you see that film yet?
She's a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was big.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big Insidious fan.
Would you say cheesy?
No,
No.
I said she's a movie.
All right.
She is.
So I'm not really a big fan of Insidious, but the trailers and everything kind of got me back into it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. I mean, it's something. I have a pass to go to the movie, so I'm like, all right, fuck it, let me burn a ticket. And it definitely wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. But shout out to the fans that love that franchise. Some people were happy, but there was probably one scene I thought was decent, but
Damn.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think it was a little bit of a snooze fest,
yeah.
which is disappointing because in the beginning, Insidious went like really, really hard.
Yeah.
It really did. And I hate, accusing films of being cash grabs, but man, I was bored.
Yeah.
I was bored. I did give it the time of day, but I was definitely bored. But I'm also not really one to go up for paranormal type
Sure.
of films anyway.
Yeah.
Honestly, before watching it, I had to also rewatch The Conjuring because after so many years, the two franchises just kind of blended into one for me, especially because Patrick Wilson is in both of them, right?
Yeah.
Which is not helpful for me. And
Like,
I
Like
love
for a
me
period
some
of time, he
him.
was in everything.
Yeah, yes, always playing the gaslighting father
Yeah.
in some degree of gaslighting. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that it came out. I am, because that box set is going to be looking nice when it drops.
yeah.
But they can't all be bangers. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. That's disappointing. I was actually looking forward to that one. I
I'm
was
sorry.
I was supposed to go see it like 2 nights ago, and it didn't work out. So I was like, damn it, they're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna be all jealous, but I'm not jealous at all. So that's good.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's good.
I didn't
Okay.
want to break your
Actually,
heart.
I'm not sorry. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, Brandon didn't say anything to me.
It's all
Normally he tells me if it's good or not. So I was like, sitting
I know you're a fan of that franchise, so I wasn't gonna
Yeah.
break your heart. You were looking forward to it. I'm like, I can't hurt this guy like this. Gotta hurt himself.
I'm not like a huge paranormal person either, but like something about the Insidious movies I did like. I always just love the scores for them, and like the way the score like really sets the tone of the film. Like I feel like they use music really well in those films, or James Wan films in general, I guess, like that Wan-iverse films.
Yeah.
Like, tend to do that a lot. So
Yeah, I always give it a shot for James Wan. I trust him, but I also do realize that he's like a name now.
yeah.
So
yeah.
just because his name is attached to something, I can't assume that it's his project. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so
That
funny.
kinda
I literally just had a conversation with like a non-horror fan about that because I was like, I forget what film we were talking about. We were just like kind of talking about how like they all kind of blend in together. I'm like, yeah, it's all the
mhm.
Wan-iverse. He's like, but
Mhm.
does James Wan actually make them all? I'm like, no, I guess he doesn't, but they're still the Wan-iverse, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it still counts.
It doesn't matter anymore. It's his name's an umbrella at this point.
I got bamboozled like last year, I think, because I love Guillermo del Toro,
Mm.
and I saw his name attached to this movie called Antlers that either came
Yeah,
out last year,
Yep.
or the year
yeah.
before. And man, baby, I went all the way to the theater just to realize that it was not a Guillermo del
Yeah.
Toro
Yep.
production. And instead it seemed to be a little too much white nonsense for me.
Mm.
But after some research, I find out that he's probably, glanced over it, threw some money, gave the
Yeah.
okay, gave him a producer credit. But yeah, it was enough to get me in the theater. So yeah,
You know what
it is what it
what
is.
used to who used to do that a lot, or they would do that with back in the day, it was like everything was Quentin Tarantino. Quentin
Yep.
Tarantino presents, or this is Quentin Tarantino's favorite film or something like that. I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
remember, there was this what was it called? Something Bangkok, something that like it was like a film that he loved and he like released it, but like his name was on it. So I was like, it was
Mm-hmm.
very confusing all the time. And I guess that's, a great way to sell a film.
Yeah, but it's also can backfire too, like I personally am not a fan of Tim Burton. Unfortunately, I love his films, but I don't love his values.
Hmm.
And I like to make that very clear. And The Nightmare Before Christmas is not a Tim Burton film, it's a Henry Selick film, who in fact actually is a very, very strong ally, Henry Selick, who also did Wendell and Wild for Jordan Peele. Also, Nia DaCosta's Candyman, not Jordan Peele's
Yeah.
Candyman.
Yeah.
Monkey Paw produced Candyman, but he did not direct it. It was Nia
Mhm.
DaCosta. So, it goes both ways. I can feel
Sure.
bamboozled, and people also get the short hand of the stick. But I guess at the end of the day, whatever gets people into the theater, right?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same thing for music too, because I know there was a big thing back in the day for Dr. Dre and Scott Storch. You know what I mean? Like that piano piece on
Mm-hmm.
Still Dre. So it was always that back and forth of that shit. So it goes on everywhere.
Yeah.
So like, and then I'm going back to Insidious when you guys were talking about like the music and the score. I think the thing that's starting to stick out for a lot of kids these days, like my son, he's 15. He wanted to see it because he heard like his favorite rapper, like Destroy Lonely. His music was in the movie, so it's like it was on at the party. So now kids are starting to do that shit where they're just going to kind of go and listen to that their music in the movie. Because I know his other favorite rapper was Yeet, and they had gone to see the Minions and shit because Yeats
Oh
would be in
God.
it.
I
You know what I
remember
mean?
that
So
whole TikTok thing. That shit was
yeah,
crazy.
so that's what's happening now. So it's just like you have Destroy Lonely fans going to see Insidious just because they want to hear that song at that part.
I
So
love that. I love
yeah,
that.
so yeah, it's definitely different. But I'm like, okay, guy, it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Of, he's like, oh, I liked it. That's my favorite rapper. I'm like,
I hope, my mom loves 21 Savage. I don't know
yeah.
why, but my mom loves 21 Savage. And I'm like, there's this new Saw movie. Nah, she would never, but
Uh,
So I think it was when I went to see the Boogeyman. I don't know if you guys had seen the trailer, but they dropped the Nun 2 trailer. So just talking about like Wan-iverse films. So how did you guys feel about the trailer or about there being a new Nun film?
whatever, man.
yeah.
I'm kind of like whatever at this point.
Yeah.
I'm in it for James Wan, so I will be there in the
Mhm.
theater. I didn't ask, but I'm still gonna eat.
Yeah.
So, I'll be fed. I'll be fine, but I didn't ask. Unfortunately, I'm a glutton, so yeah, I will be in the theater. I do like that woman that plays the nun though. I think
Yeah.
Mm,
I think she's scary. She got a
yeah,
great face.
she
Yeah,
does.
he has that look. But yeah, like going to the trailer, like the first movie sucked, but the trailer for the second movie looks a little better, but I don't know. I can't trust it. I can't trust trailers these days.
I know
Can't.
how much like can we really put into a trailer? Like, can we really trust it? I don't know. I had the
Telling you.
same thought. I was so bored with the first Nun. Like I saw it in the theater and I was like literally like wanted to just take a nap. I felt like there was such
Oh,
a
no.
lull in that film, and I'm like, this trailer doesn't look too bad. Do I just pretend that doesn't exist? I don't know.
I think we should pretend. I think we should.
Pretend. Just
Pretty
pretend.
nice. The only trailer I trust is Talk to Me. I'm sorry. That's it.
You know what? I'm happy you said that because I had no idea about Talk to Me, but I was talking to Sheree, my co-host, and she saw it at South by. I think she saw it when we were at South by Southwest. I was not able to, but she was like, "Yeah." I think we were talking about like our favorites so far of this year on the podcast, and she was like, "Yeah, you know, there's this new girl in town. She's called Talk to Me, and like she's not out yet, but she's really that girl." And I was like, "Talk to Me? Let me look that up." So I look it up and I watched the trailer. And I watched this trailer and I still have like no idea what this movie's about.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, like, I guess, but like my co-host, she's like a critic. So I'm like, I guess I trust you, but I don't know. That trailer was not giving. It was not giving for the amount it gave in the theater. But you know, again, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. All I have is the trailer, and I'm like, I literally have no idea what that film's about.
I'm telling you right now, that shit's crazy, man. I'm telling you, and it's crazy because the Fangoria magazine itself, like the cover of it, definitely hits different now after watching that movie.
Okay. When does that actually hit theaters for everybody to see?
July 28th.
Next Friday.
All right. Okay. So I got one you guys are probably all excited about. The Sharksploitation documentary hitting Shudder tomorrow.
You know what? I have the screener and I was gonna watch it like right after I'm done with this podcast. But I am a Shark Week bitch. I am a Shark Week bitch. I'm a Sharksploitation. I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up. So I'm very, very excited for that.
Cool.
I can't wait.
I'm glad to hear that. So tell us what some of if you had to recommend a shark film that you think is good, but also maybe not like obvious, like not Jaws, you know, what would you say?
The Shallows with Blake Lively.
Love that one. That's great.
Yeah, that's peak for me. That had my heart beating.
Yeah, plus
and I
Blake
didn't
Lively.
even see it at the theater. I saw it like way late in the game, but I'm like, why are we talking about the Meg when The Shallows is right there?
Yeah, The Shallows was fire. I had seen that in theater. And I was just like, all right, that's definitely one of my favorite. But
she's also just like a hottie.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
you know.
no, she makes the film for sure.
She does.
Open Water was super effective for me. I loved that one. So that would probably be the one. What's that?
30 meters down. What was that? 30 meters down.
48 meters down.
48 meters. Hey, well, I don't know what the second one was. I forgot the name of it. It had like
it was just like 48 meters down unleashed or something, wasn't it?
That one was terrible. That one was like sharks / descent because they couldn't see, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? I was like, no, I don't know about that, but it should be called 30 meters down for that one.
I just think that idea of being stranded in water and sharks like circling you is just terrifying. I watched like almost all the open waters, and like they weren't all great, but they all kind of captured the same thing, and that's terrifying. I don't like water though, so I'm just everything.
Definitely not a shark movie, but it is like a what the fuck is in the water type movie. But I will always go up for Underwater. It's a Cthulhu film at the end of the day. It is a Cthulhu film.
With Kristen Stewart.
Yes,
I like that film a lot.
Yes, and also Kristen Stewart is looking like a snack in that one too. And you know, I'm big on like the sci-fi kind of things. So, and when I first picked the movie, I didn't know I was getting a monster movie. I just thought I was getting like an action thriller, I guess. That was a pleasant surprise. That definitely was a pleasant surprise.
I'm so on board with that. I had zero idea like any of that was going to happen in the end. And I was like, that is awesome. And you're right. Like Kristen Stewart, like it's like they found a reason to make her pantless for majority of the film. And she's just
thank God.
Like, yeah, Like, how can we make her wear like the least amount of clothing and just run around this ship? But no, that was a lot of fun. You know, you were saying
Yeah.
sci-fi too, and I was kind of thinking, I wonder if you like the film. Is it called Alive? Brandon, you know what I'm talking about? The one where they're on the ship. It's kind of like Alien. I think Jake Gyllenhaal might have been in it.
Oh, wait.
Life?
Wait.
Was it Life? Was that a horror
Yeah.
film?
They're in space though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I'm
Yeah.
not a water, but I know you were
Okay.
saying sci-fi, so I was wondering if that was one that you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have that one on 4K and the
Okay.
shelf over there. That one is great. That one's kind of
Right.
fucked up too.
Yeah.
Ryan
And
Reynolds
that
was in that, right?
ending.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ooh. Yeah.
Was it,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
It was both of them.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
both of them. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
like that one.
That one was very good. And also on the border of sci-fi and sharksploitation is a Sweetheart. Y'all see that one?
No.
Oh shit.
Sweetheart.
Oh shit. All right. So I'm scrolling one day on Netflix and I'm like, what do I watch? What do I watch? This is before I had Letterboxd and I know better now. But I'm mindlessly scrolling on Netflix and I see this movie called Sweetheart. And I shit you not, the only reason why I pressed play on the movie is because there was a girl on the cover and she had a similar haircut as me. And I'm like, all right, let's see what this is about. And I thought I was getting, you know, like your typical survival horror. And then it actually turns out it's a creature feature with this creature, which also, mind you, when you get there, because you will watch this movie, okay, has one of the best creature reveals I have ever seen. And I'm so stunned that specific scene hasn't been getting the flowers that it has.
Wow.
But this creature reveal, first of all, the design is flawless. I kind of gave it up with bringing it up, but kind of like a shark human hybrid monster that's haunting this island, and when she gets stuck on it, she's gonna have to face it. But the reveal is absolutely flawless. You get the silhouette of the creature and you see the whole design without actually getting up close to it. It chills, man. Goosebumps.
Awesome.
I'm looking at the poster right now. It's a Blumhouse movie, but I think that I probably started it, but I didn't finish it. But does it start off with like she's on like the island and then like her family, like there's women and she has to go to the other side, like to on the little boat on a boat or something by herself. She has to transport another little kid. It's not
No,
that way. Not that one.
no.
She looks similar to that girl that's in that movie. So I have to check it out.
Yeah, I haven't heard of this, so I gotta find this.
I would highly recommend it.
Sweetwater?
Sweetheart.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
looking up Sweetwater.
I sleep on a lot of Netflix movies. I can't trust them these days either.
I understand. I understand.
So
I'm seeing that haircut.
give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot.
You see? I was like,
see
damn,
it.
she looked like me for real. Like, let me see what she's talking about.
That's awesome. All right. So Xero, is there any other movies that you watched this month that you think we should discuss, or any like new ones coming out later this month maybe that you haven't checked out that you're excited for?
Well, I'm excited for Talk to Me to be out so I can see it a
Yeah.
third time. But besides that, I'm kind of coasting right now.
Cool. All right. I also want to give a shout out to the Mutant Fam, and they hosted the Death Drop Gorgeous guys on a live Twitter I don't know thing on Sunday night, but that was a lot of fun. So we were watching Death Drop Gorgeous on Shudder, and everybody was having a good time in the Twitter stream. I'm trying to get active in that. I feel like I don't know how to do Twitter like everybody does. I'm like, I don't know how to get anybody to see my stuff, but I had a lot of fun. I was just kind of going with it. It was some funny conversations in there. Those guys are a ton of fun. The Mutant Fam was a lot of fun to interact with on there too. So just wanted to give them a shout.
Have you seen Saint Drago yet? Their newest one?
Yeah.
Shit, man. Shit.
We were like so impressed with just like how much they grew from one film to the next, and yeah, it was awesome.
That was crazy on a big screen also, because I saw it at
they played
in
it
Salem.
that weekend. That's right. Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of insane to witness.
Yeah.
And going back on, like, that's the kind of intersection of like real life horror, because cults are real too. And
Yeah.
I loved hearing the guys talk about the film. I moderated a Q&A with them afterwards,
Okay.
and them talking about their queerness and how being a cis white gay man can often feel like being in a fucking cult. And these things, I mean, I obviously can't relate too much to that, but things that I would never think about, that apply to your daily life, which make it just a little bit more creepy. So congrats to them, and shout out deserved.
Yeah. When we first started doing our movie nights, Brandon and Ryan, who works on every project with them, and a few of them would get together at our movie nights, and they would just be writing, and they were writing Death Drop Gorgeous at the time. So it was so funny.
Awesome.
For us. Like we would see them pretty regularly, and just to see like how casual it was, but like when they came out with that film, and just to this point now, just watching them grow, and like I just think it's cool for us, we were able to kind of see that growth in them, which was awesome. But just like the proof is there in those two films. Like it's Death Drop Gorgeous is definitely a fun one, and it's super enjoyable. But like Saint Drogo is like feels like real deal. It's like I feel like they have a lot of potential ahead of them too.
Absolutely. So you know what that means? Open your fucking wallets and give them the budgets that they deserve.
Give them money.
All right. So I don't have anything else for the month of July. Dave, you got anything else?
No, that's all I got. Yep.
All right.
No. Xero, why don't you tell everybody where to find you on social media, where to listen to you, where to watch you, where to hang out with you, whatever you want to tell them. Actually, no, don't, you don't want to tell them too much. You don't want them knowing your personal details.
Well, you can usually find me creeping around Nighthawk Cinema over in Brooklyn. I live under the floorboards. That's why I'm always there. But you can find me online at IDK Gravity. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Letterboxd. All my handles are the same. I don't know Gravity. And you can also listen to my podcast. It's called Blurdy Massacre. And also on Instagram and Twitter at Blurdy Massacre. You can listen to that wherever you get your podcast fix, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. And I also just joined a new podcast called The Altar Tapes, and my first episode drops very soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Check that out.
So yeah, thank you so much, Xero. This was awesome. It was fun just chatting films with someone who knows so much and is, has such a diverse, like I feel like we kind of pride ourselves on having like a pretty broad range of like interests in the genre, but like I definitely think you're right up there with us. So that's very awesome.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual. And I hope to whoever, passes others' territory first, we will definitely stop for a beer and more movie talk.
Very, very cool. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week. Have a good night.
Peace.